Hello and welcome to the third episode of the Fandom Flux podcast. Once again, I'm your host, KCW. And with me is Slicinus. We're going to stop calling him Justin.
Thank you.
Yay. And Ethan.
God damn it.
And yeah, I thought so. Yeah. Okay.
Hey.
You made an agreement. Don't forget it. Yeah. Alright, so we've got stuff to talk about this week. Possibly. We planned a little bit more than we did last week.
Yeah.
So, give us credit for that.
We put a few extra minutes into it.
Yeah. Minutes.
Yeah, minutes. That's what they'll think.
Effort. That was nice.
All right, so I suppose everyone wants to start by just like a few things they've been watching, telling us.
Yeah, what we've been doing and stuff and
sure.
things. So, Slicer, let's start with you because fuck it, I don't care.
All right. Well,
this is how I started it last week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fuck it, I don't care.
I think so.
I think that should also be our slogan. Just Fandom Flux. Fuck it, we don't care.
Yeah.
All right, I've mostly been job hunting. Actually, I haven't been doing a whole lot of beta work, and I've been playing replaying Saints Row 3 since I'm going to get 4 pretty soon.
Is all that beta reading fan fiction money finally running dry?
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah.
I just bought way too many hookers. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can't control myself.
The fan fiction author's life hits hard and fast, you know?
Mm-hmm. All right, Ethan, what are you up to?
Well, I've kind of gotten into a bit of an obscure anime. I'm not really sure if anyone's heard of it, but have either of you heard of Attack on Titan? I mean, ring any bells at all?
Oh no, definitely not.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna indulge you on this bit. Sorry.
All right.
Fuck you, dude.
Love you too, Casey. But yeah, it's really good. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be able to live up to the hype, but because I didn't like Homestuck when everyone told me I should read that, and I didn't like Harry Potter when everyone told me I should read that as well. But with this, it's just like, yeah, you were right. I like the show now. But I guess it's mostly just because I kind of like finding stuff on my own. I know that's a really, douchey thing to say, but I kind of appreciate something more when I discover it myself.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Ow.
I suppose you could just find all sorts of things on your own at this point. It's the internet. Everything's everywhere. Just look for it.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of, go through Netflix and just, some distribution sites I'm not going to name. Yeah, I mean, Netflix is kind of running a little dry, if I might add on, anime.
Yeah,
we don't have a lot, I know that.
Yeah. Well,
Crunchyroll is supposed to be better for that, I think.
it is, but, there's the fees and stuff you have to pay if you want to be able to use it.
I've had problems with their video software as well. I can't get it to work right.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. If I'm using anything above SD, and sometimes even with the lowest setting, I'll still get some stuttering. Is that the problem you're talking about, or?
It's sort of. It needs to buffer constantly, no matter how long I let it sit.
Yeah. Sometimes I can just pause it for a minute, and it'll work fine with me. But yeah, other than that, I've kind of been in between, games and such as well. I guess I'm just kind of waiting for the next one to really grab me and not let go until I'm done.
Right.
But I guess I'm just rambling at this point. Casey.
Yeah?
What are you up to this fine week?
I don't remember. I started a Nuzlocke run because we talked about it last week and it got me hyped for it.
Which version?
Blaze Black 2. It was a mistake. It was such a mistake. That game's fucking hard.
I just want us to come back next week, and you've got all this decorated veteran stuff and the little beret. You weren't there, man. You weren't there.
Oh,
You've seen things.
I had such a good start. I got a Beedrill, my third catch, and it was amazing.
And you got
They're
killed?
amazing low-level Pokemon, and it fucking died. Fucking
Maybe you should beat the game normally before you try a Nuzlocke run on your first...
I'm not entirely sure that game can be Nuzlocked. I mean, it's ridiculously hard.
This is kind of the part where I don't want to mention the fact that when I played Emerald, as soon as I got to the Safari Zone, I took 3 steps and found a Pikachu.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh.
Oh, well.
Pikachu hasn't been rare since Red and Blue, dude. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Oh, well. But speaking of next week, I want to bring something up. I will not be able to attend next week.
Entirely true.
Yes, because I will be at Anime Weekend Atlanta for Saturday and Sunday. So, if there's like that, I'm going to have to dodge all the swarming fans that just agglomerate around me. Going to have to hire a bodyguard, maybe even just go incognito.
Yep. Or, once again, we go back to the plan that I gave you a while ago, which is just walk into the convention center and say, I have a podcast. And let them all swarm in.
Honestly, I want to see if anyone can recognize me by my voice first.
I sincerely doubt
I didn't think so. I didn't think so either. I don't know. I just don't like, just stating like out of the open, like I've got this. I'm so cool.
Right.
There's all these people I don't know who like my stuff. I don't know. It's just kind of a personality that doesn't really fit with me.
Alright, so since Ethan probably won't be here next week, he's said he might try maybe, but it's a very dicey proposition of him even showing up for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So we had an
just
idea.
Slept, actually. Those are exhausting. The conventions, I mean.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, so we have an alternate plan for what we're going to do next week. For one thing, we need more cast members because it's likely Chrissa also won't be here.
Yeah,
we're kind of reworking our recording schedule a little just to see if we can accommodate.
You could say that, which is to say we're recording on Sunday rather than Saturday because people didn't show up on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Not naming any names, so don't worry about it, Slicer. It's not a big deal.
Cough.
So yeah, we're looking for more people to show on the podcast, and also we're thinking of doing a Harry Potter fandom-centric episode next week, or possibly the week after. It entirely depends. So if you're an author, or just a very big fan of the, Harry Potter fandom, feel free to drop us a comment, or message us on Twitter, or message us personally on fanfiction.net. And we'll have a look and see whether you could show.
We'll screen you through. We get these every day, people.
Oh yeah, very extensive testing.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Okay, basically we just want to make sure that you know your shit, and you're not just like some random idiot who doesn't even use capital letters when he's writing.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really care what fandom you're into, just as long as you're passionate about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're not a moron.
Yeah, and also be able to take criticism.
That's a good thing too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope I don't end up turning into like Pete Best. I'll leave and then he'll get some new guy and he'll be vastly more popular and better in every way.
Right. I don't think anybody can
out-weird
you, so you'll always have a place.
Yay.
He makes a good point.
He really does. I mean,
yeah.
I feel like if we had a contest to see who could be more weirder, I'd just like spout off rapid fire non sequiturs until my competitor's head explodes.
Yeah, you can just feel the love, can't you, Ethan? Just overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone loves you so much.
Like a cattle prod.
Yeah, I imagine that'd be overwhelming. All right, so next topic, since I think that covers pretty much everything.
Yeah,
I believe so.
Yawn. Yeah, I got up like 2 hours ago. Sue me. Things you can't stand watching or experiencing, or whatever.
Or
things
or whatever.
in media that you don't want to deal with. You just can't tolerate it at all.
Yeah.
It just sends you running for the hills.
I guess I'll start because mine's not necessarily more. I just kind of like mine isn't necessarily I shirk away from it. This one's more just kind of makes me squeamish. But in the first 2 episodes of Attack on Titan, there's a lot of very brutal, just genocide. Like it's very in your face, very in your face, and very just. It's very human. I'll say that it's very. Just kind of natural and realistic in how it is shown, just like all this bodies and blood and all these people begging for their lives and just being demanding to like be put down and not die, and that kind of thing, not necessarily just in Attack on Titan, but in any kind of a media where there's just someone who has completely lost control of the scenario and is just hoping someone will let them stop and get off. It just gets me in such a way that it's very hard for me to pick something up if that's something that happens a lot.
I'm actually really glad to hear that. It actually leads right into mine. It's just setting the mood appropriately. I cannot stand when people use rape or torture or something as a shorthand for it. It's stupid and idiotic.
Yeah.
There's no bigger story killer than either of those for me.
I suppose it's more just you have to make it good. You can't
believable, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's all these stories of these people who have been, I haven't read any personally because this topic is just one I don't really like touching unless it's a really good author. But it's just something that has to be done very delicately and has to be done very well. Yeah.
What about you, Casey? Got anything?
So Ethan says genocide.
Well, it's not really genocide. It's more just people in harm's way.
And Slicer says not setting the mood properly. I'm going to sound so freaking shallow for saying this is my thing that I can't stand in any media ever at all. Wasps and bees.
Okay.
Just literally, anytime I see a wasp or a bee anywhere at all, I can't stand it, and I just have to, give it up.
Tell me, have you seen Wicker Man?
I will never watch Wicker Man for that exact reason. That scene that everyone takes the piss out of, not the bees, no. I could not, no.
I think we found one of the natural wonders of the world, ladies and gentlemen. Someone who is realistically afraid of Nicolas Cage.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, this came to mind specifically because in like one of the last few episodes of the reboot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, there's like this one episode, I think it's called Parasitica or something. Yeah, in the very opening, there's like this giant wasp that just jumps out of nowhere, and I'm like, I pause it, and I'm like, okay, I could either watch this and give myself nightmares, or I could just skip this one and move on to the next one. So I flipped a coin.
It's that bad for you?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess I can relate because I have an irrational fear of clowns.
That's not really irrational. I think most people don't like clowns.
Well, I mean, this is more just like, I can't. The only clown I like is Pennywise, and that's just because he's so dumb in the miniseries.
Float.
Yes. I will never take Pennywise seriously if it is Tim Curry. That is just the funniest stuff.
Who's
I
Pennywise?
love that line. I love that inflection on that line. They float.
Oh, they float. They all float. Then he bites off some kid's arm.
That was great.
The library scene is the best. Have you seen the library scene?
Oh, yeah, where it just keeps going on for ages and ages. You got Prince Albert in a can, and you better let him out.
I am completely lost. What are you people talking about?
It's from It.
Oh, you got to see it.
Stephen King.
You got to see it, dude.
No, I don't.
It's so dumb. It's just so dumb.
I don't watch scary movies, even if that's
It's
not actually
scary at all.
but I don't know. I suppose horror movies I don't watch, except for zombies, but those aren't scary at all.
Yeah. It has, like, one legitimately, like, unsettling scene, but that's it.
Mm.
Which one was that?
Where he picks up the scrapbook and it winks at him.
Oh, yeah. That's a little bit unnerving.
But that's it. It's not like any kind of actual scary stuff, just unnerving. That's it.
Mm. But it's actually a Stephen King story that might have created the whole thing with wasps and bees and everything for me, now I think about it. Have you ever seen The Shining?
I need to.
I've seen parts of the movie, but not the whole thing, front to back.
I've seen, like, all the pieces everyone references, like the twin scene and the bear giving a guy a blowjob and all that stuff.
Like, at the very beginning of the film, there's this scene with a wasp's nest. Basically, the dad of this family drops a bug bomb in a wasp's nest. Then he brings it in to show his kid, his son. And the kid, leaves it in his room because, it's dead. All the wasps are dead. Except they're not.
That's what I was thinking.
Which they find out in the middle of the night by the kid's room being literally filled with wasps.
Yeah, I can see that being, like... I can see that being an eye-opener, really.
That
might be the root cause of the whole thing.
Probably. I mean, I've been stung by one on the wrist, but that it just makes me wary of them. That's about it.
The closest thing I can have is when I was roped into paintball, and everyone always describes getting shot by a paintball like a bee sting. So, and considering how I tended to kind of be the target, I guess I've been stung by a lot of bees from a synonymous point of view.
I don't know if it counts. I mean, bees are kind of a stabbing, sharp pain, and paintballs are more of a slap, a very small but painful slap.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It's more just like the shock of getting hit by it than anything for me. Like, it doesn't bother me that much.
It goes away quick, yeah.
Yeah.
Get shot in the neck and then say that, though. That's not pleasant.
I think I got shot in my Adam's apple at one point.
Ah, yeah.
Like,
then you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it managed to, like, weave its way through my helmet.
That's great.
It's a Adam's apple seeking paintball.
Mm-hmm. It is pretty prominent, I'll tell you that.
What, the paintball or your Adam's apple?
Adam's apple.
Oh, so you have like a grapefruit in there or something?
Wouldn't go that far. More like
like
a raisin. Like maybe a milk dud. Why am I talking about it like this?
I don't know. I don't know why you're thinking about it that hard. Okay, sure. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
The next thing?
Sure.
To kind of go on your irrational fear thing, there's one other thing that really gets to me, and that's complete silence.
Okay.
Like, say I'm going to bed, and like I'm like the last person to go to bed. I've got my light off. I'm under the covers, trying to go to bed, and it's too quiet. That just gets me.
I can't sleep like that. I need a fan on, or the air conditioner, or something.
Sometimes it gets so bad that I'll actually just turn on the TV and sleep to that.
I don't think I could do that. I need total darkness in my room, but I don't really care about noise or anything.
Yeah.
I guess that's why I think it won't be too hard for me to move to a big city, because there'll be constant noise and I'll be happier. Because I'll know something's going on.
It's a little different, actually. It's the sound of cars honking and stuff like that. It's more piercing, I guess. It's harder to sleep.
I don't know. Maybe I'll just sleep soundly to the sounds of a drug cartel going sour.
Yeah.
You mean a drug deal going sour? A drug cartel going sour is probably a lot louder.
Yeah.
And scarier.
True. Well, deal. Anyway.
So, next topic. Schedules.
Schedule.
Right, okay. I'm not sure if anybody has seen it before, but there's a new fan fiction called The Potter Attraction. It's actually kind of a continuation of Tune-In Exam Day by Perfect Lionheart.
That was a good story. People bash it all the time. It's a good story.
It was, yeah. It's kind of complicated, but I didn't mind it. But
that's not why people complain about it, but sure.
Yeah.
But while you guys are rattling about Harry Potter, I gotta use the restroom real quick. I'll be back.
Okay.
We forgot to tell him that he needed to go beforehand.
Whatever.
Right, did. Anyway,
Apparently we need to tell him every time.
I'm not a... You make me sound like a pet, dude. Like, do you have you let the Ethan out? No. Anyway,
right.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
I'm workshopping episode titles as we speak.
All right. Well, it's basically the Naruto and his harem moving on to the Harry Potter universe through it's either an accident or intentional vacation kind of thing, since that's just what they do at this point. And so they kind of adopt Harry, and he grows up with Naruto and his family. That's pretty good, but the author is a friend of mine, and I've been beta reading for him for a while, and he's got like 67 chapters done, so he can release like 5 of these things a week and be ready for a while.
I don't think I could handle doing that at all.
I think he was really nervous about the reception it would get, because he's tried to ask Lionheart for permission, but you can't get a hold of that guy. I mean,
not anymore. No. I think he's just bailed on the whole thing because people were being such prats to him.
No, actually, he was open to the idea of someone making a sequel for it, or even continuing where he left off on the group before he threw a huge tantrum about it. But those are apparently pretty normal for him. So yeah. But what was I going to say?
I don't know, but I imagine it was something to do with this author and why he wasn't releasing it.
Oh, yeah. The Perfect Lionheart goes by similar username on one of the groups I'm a part of, the Yahoo groups, and it's not that hard to get a hold of him. He talks a lot. Okay. So it's not that hard to get in contact with him, because the message will get through, but he just won't respond. So, I don't know. But I think the benefit of it is, well, you don't need to worry about it, but it also can make you lazy. I mean, I have so many chapters to release, and I don't need to work on it right now. But so you'd probably end up putting it off if you did that instead of writing it live week per week.
Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, I tend to put it off anyway because I'm,
right.
Procrastinator.
You do that a lot, I've noticed. Yeah.
I do. It's unfortunate.
I really shouldn't be talking though, because I do that too. So
my problem is I'll work, but I just spread. But like I've mentioned before, I'll just have so many projects that I never get around to the ones that I really need to do.
Yeah, way to make us feel bad, Ethan.
How about to-do list?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's what I do. I schedule. Like I'll say, okay, so I'll write this first, and everything else is just me picking my nose.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can't really imagine being able to write 67 chapters and not release anything at all. Because as soon as I write something, I want to post it that second.
Same here.
It's actually a struggle for me to actually send something to Slicer for him to beta first.
Yeah, as soon as I finish, I go off and say, okay, Casey, what do you have for me?
Yeah, what makes it even worse is it's like 750,000 words he's got all saved up. It's not just like 100,000, it's like 7,500.
Yeah.
Dude,
he's got like a manuscript for you.
Pretty much.
I wish I could do that. Just type up an entire manuscript and be like, here.
Yeah.
Well, he's been working on it for like a year, so I mean, it's not that excessive when you think about the time frame, but
yeah,
it's a lot.
No, that's still pretty excessive when you think about the time frame.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Stephen King writes 1,000 words every day. He makes sure, which probably explains why his books could kill a small animal upon impact.
You can, actually. I know this for a fact.
Oh.
I killed a mouse with the book The Cell.
Yeah. 1,000 words a day is still 365,000 words a year. That's still only, just over half of what this guy's apparently written, from what you're saying?
Pretty much.
So, yeah, that's kind of a lot for someone doing it just for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
Stephen King makes money off this shit.
Mm-hmm. And that's just guaranteed 1,000. He probably sits down and does a lot more, when he has time.
Well, yeah, granted.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what else is he doing?
I don't know. hobbies, I guess. I don't know what Stephen King does in his off time.
Drugs.
Maybe,
He doesn't need drugs.
Maybe the Stephen King signal blares in the foggy, cloudlit night of the city, and he goes off to fight scum and villainy in a costume.
Right.
He did used to use drugs,
Yeah,
I
he
didn't
did
know.
he did like cocaine.
Yeah, it was like writing help. I don't know. I can't think of the word. It was so that he could be more creative, supposedly. It's what the whole alcoholic thing that he always does is about.
Yeah.
Because there's always an alcoholic writer or something.
He's also he's also in a band.
Is he?
Yeah.
Really?
I can't remember the name of it though. I just know he is.
Huh.
All I know trope-wise for his stories is there's always some crazy religious person because he was raised Catholic or something.
Watch the It review by the Nostalgia Critic and play the drinking game.
Yeah. That's a long silence.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see it, so I can't really comment on that. But
yeah, I was trying to think of something.
Well, I mean, it's just that he kind of has a skeleton of what he writes. Like, okay, so it's going to be in Maine. There's going to be some kind of eldritch cosmic horror. There's going to be some kind of smarmy black guy with a funny accent. There's going to be some watery-eyed kid who doesn't really want to get roped into this.
There's going to be a writer.
Yeah.
There's going to be an alcoholic. They may or may not be the same person.
Yeah.
Right.
There's going to be some way it all ties together into his other books.
There's always going to be the sort of psychic kid that's not really explained very well.
Yeah. There's going to be, like, thousands upon thousands of pages.
Eventually, people just stop questioning those kind of things, though. I mean, it's just like, oh, it's Stephen King. It's just a psychic kid. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
You know what would actually be interesting if he wrote a story about like a normal family. Like he always seems to pick dysfunctional families. Like, what if he wrote a story about like, oh no, I guess I forgot I'm going to be late to school for a few minutes, and instead of the teacher being some kind of psychotic pedophile who gets pleasure out of beating the kids for being late, instead it's just, oh well, guess you got to write 100 sentences on the blackboard after school.
That would be strange. I think people would, like, admit him to a hospital for that.
Yeah.
Okay, that tangent again.
Yeah.
Yay, fun times.
They got to fill the time up somehow.
We fill time. Yeah. Okay. Next topic.
All right.
Says Ethan.
Well, I mean, you just almost sound kind of desperate. Like, next topic.
Okay, sure. That's what it was. So, Sega bought Atlas.
Yep.
This is something Ethan suggested we talk about.
Well,
it's a thing.
It's kind of
a company bought another company.
Yeah. Well, I guess it just kind of goes back to very early on when Atlas's parent company had a lot of like fraud attached to it. And then they just couldn't hold on to Atlas anymore, so they were shipped around. And I believe some of the main competitors also included Nintendo and Capcom.
I can't even imagine that. But, yeah, I don't really care that Sega bought Atlas at all, because Atlas was the only part of that parent company that you're talking about that was actually profitable.
Yeah.
So I figure Sega are just going to let them do their own thing and make money for them.
Yeah.
I really hope they don't try and vent any bad decisions on them. Just let them do what they're doing and rake in the money.
Yeah. I mean, they've got some pretty good stuff planned, like the next Persona Arena and the new Persona game.
Wait, what?
An SMT Fire Emblem.
Yeah. A lot of stuff.
Hang on. Slicer tried to stop you there, and I really should have let him. Wait, next Persona game?
Yeah. I'm interested. What? I was more interested in the arena, actually, but...
Okay.
Yeah,
next Persona game?
Yeah, there's going to be one. There's not a lot about it that's been released, but they've revealed that it's been confirmed.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what universe it's set in, or?
Nothing like that. I think it's going to be years. I just know, I think it's for a Nintendo platform. I think the 3DS. Don't quote me on it.
Crap.
God damn it, Ethan.
And
you knew absolutely nothing about this. You just said it because you expected it to happen.
And everyone... Well, I mean, all we know is that it's going to be a game and it's going to be a Persona game. We just don't know if it's going to be the next like installment or a spin-off. Kind of like what Hussey's doing with the Homestuck game.
Right. I think that's actually an official sequel. I mean, not sequel, but ending or something. I don't know.
What?
The game, Homestuck game. I think it's actually the ending of the comic.
No.
Something.
Well, I think that's just speculation, but from what I read of the Kickstarter page, he said it's just like a side story.
Ah.
Yeah. I like how I say I'm not into Homestuck yet. I know all this stuff about Homestuck.
You don't need to be a fan of something to be into it.
I've got a friend who's really, really invested in it.
Right.
Yeah. Like 2/3 of all of our conversations tend to kind of manage to gravitate back to Homestuck.
I know what that's like. My youngest brother is into Command & Conquer and Yu-Gi-Oh! And every conversation we have talks about that. One of those two.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
I never got into children's card games.
The show. He plays the card games, but it's not seriously. It's just with the family.
Yeah.
The original show is pretty funny just for the silly factor. It's the so bad it's a good thing.
Right.
I really love the abridged series.
Me too.
Joey Wheeler. Baby Dragon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you expect from 4 kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
1,000-year dragon.
Blue eyes, white dragon.
Yeah.
All right, what about the next topic?
Okay. You want to change the topic now as well. All right. GTA 5.
Okay.
I got nothing.
It's a good game. It's a great game.
Yeah.
People should play it.
Well, I mean,
people are probably already playing it, but people should play it.
Well, considering the fact that it's already made $1 billion, I'm not exaggerating when I say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I have to admit, I do find my favorite character is probably going to end up being Trevor, just because of how Rockstar has announced that he is a parody. He is a parody of all the really gun-ho kind of players.
I can believe that.
You play the game and then you keep trying to say that. That's going to be interesting. Trevor is... Play the game, then come back to me on Trevor.
I think
because
hard to relate to or something, or what?
He's the freaky one.
He is certifiably insane.
Yeah.
And that's not exaggeration. He is certifiably insane.
I think one of my favorite things that I heard about Grand Theft Auto 5 was that when you switch to him, he'll do some really weird stuff. Like you'll find him like covered in blood in a woman's dress on like a hill of bodies.
Right.
Oh, that's weird. I admit I did switch to him once, and he was in like an outdoor gym with these muscle-bound guys, and he was saying, "Hey, I bet that's a sock in there. I bet you're packing that."
Right.
He said, "Come on, whip it out and show me." Started beating the shit out of him.
Trevor's just so weird. He makes me seem normal. Let's tell the people that.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad considering you weird when Trevor's... Then again, Trevor's fictional. Yeah. I don't think people are actually that... Well...
Yeah, you probably shouldn't slap labels like that. I mean, people are pretty crazy.
But, Grand Theft Auto in general, I've kind of been trying to get back into the game just by playing some of the older stuff, like San Andreas. And... while I do like a lot of the story and the writing, a lot of the times I've found that I just end up getting in my underpants and driving a tractor around the countryside.
Okay.
I like to think that I've become some kind of mythological creature for the NPCs, like some story they'll tell around the campfire.
Well, they already have
the big black guy in his underwear.
They already have the ghost cars and the what is it, Bigfoot? Yeah, Bigfoot.
The Bigfoot thing was just photoshopping. But I've also got bright red cowboy boots and the Groucho Marx glasses.
Okay, so this legend would be the big gay guy in his underwear, then, yes?
Well, I mean, I like to think that they call me like the Tractor Bronco or something like that.
Okay.
God damn it, Ethan.
Hey.
Sorry.
He's got that trademarked and everything, dude. He could liquidate you.
Right.
Yeah. GTA 5 is actually very like San Andreas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, it takes place in the same like fictional countryside, right?
It does, but it's also like a big open world, and there's a lot to do in it, which is it feels a little bit different from what GTA 4 was.
Which one is it more like when it comes to the gameplay? San Andreas or GTA 4?
I'd probably say...
I think 4.
Yeah, 4.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a cross between GTA 4 and Saints Row 3.
Yeah, I can see that.
Gameplay goes.
I can see that.
Or possibly Saints Row 2. I'm not sure. Somewhere in the middle
Probably
of it.
more Saints Row 2 and just how more grounded it is.
Yeah. It's very grounded. So yeah, Saints Row 2 and GTA 4 is probably where it comes down.
Yeah.
And in that, it's better for it, I think.
Yeah.
Than just GTA 4 on its own, because that game...
What?
Multiplayer might be fun as hell. Based on the Achievement Hunter Let's Plays, I assume it is fun as hell.
Yeah.
But single player, that was a slog.
I don't know. I kind of like the kind of sane man, snarky characters, and Nico was definitely that.
Yeah, there's one of those in here too. Michael.
Well,
is kind of that.
They all get kind of snarky from time to time, from what I've read. Like, I mean, Franklin plays a straight man to Lamar.
Yeah, Lamar is something special.
Yes, he is.
Right.
As soon as I saw the scene where he comes in with all of his like get up during the Employee of the Month scene, I'm like, oh yes.
That was great.
It's like, you are so black, I'm not even sure light can escape you right now.
Okay, let's move on before we get into dangerous territory here.
Let's.
Because eventually, when we're talking about that, someone's going to let slip a word that we shouldn't say.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was just joking. I didn't want it to go anywhere. I was just making a joke.
Okay. For the next two topics, I think we're officially technically starting our tropes section on this one.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And this time we actually have tropes we're invested in, so you won't just hear us going, well, what about that? No.
I actually cut those out last time, so...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they were crap. I cut two tropes out because we had next to nothing to say about them, or what we did have to say was kind of creepy.
Yeah, well,
right.
even so, we're still very passionate about the tropes we have picked. Not necessarily passionate, but invested.
I guess. Alright, so, these next two tropes are under the subtitle, we have subtitles now, of Ethan is the smartest person in the room. God help us.
Yay!
Well, I mean, the only reason...
Take us away, Ethan.
Well, I suppose the first one would be the animation age ghetto, which is a trope I am very just... It's definitely one that I don't like, just the fact that it exists. And for the uninformed, the animation age ghetto trope is the idea that all animation is meant for kids, or at least that mindset. And the sooner we all agree that animation is not a genre, it is a medium, the better off we'll all be.
Yeah, things are actually coming around to that, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
I mean, you get shows like Avatar now, and a lot of other shows are actually, maybe not saying it's for everyone, maybe they're saying it's fun for the whole family, rather than just, Yeah. That's a step in the right direction, at least.
But I'm talking about the critic, like, let me give you a good example. There's this critic who would not take Up seriously because it was animated.
Yeah, you get those outliers sometimes that are just steeped in old-fashioned sensibilities of this is how the world still is, even though it's been like 30 years since that's how the world was. It happens.
Yeah, well,
and there's people that's going to be like that for a long time to come.
Yeah, well, I mean...
But for the most part, I think things have moved forward.
Yeah, I guess, but animation was kind of animated by people who wanted to see what they wanted to see in the first place, like Looney Tunes and the early Walt Disney cartoons. Those were animated by people who just wanted to animate something, not necessarily just make something for kids. To quote Walt Disney, grown-ups are just kids who are older anyway.
They certainly can be.
Yeah. Well, I didn't mean that in the negative kind of sense, but yeah. And I suppose the next trope I'd like to talk about is, well, not necessarily a trope, more of a discussion, but I definitely like to talk about the perception of Western animation versus Japanese animation.
That ties in well to the last one, actually. Because it's people in the West judge animation more harshly as in a kiddie sort of way because that's just what they've been raised to think. I mean, anime has always been kind of serious or young adult oriented at least, but
not really.
Western...
Like in the early stuff, like with Astro Boy, like the guy who created all of those, he wanted to make animation for Japan, like what Disney was doing. So so Disney heavily inspired him. I wish I could remember his name. God, so many people are going to beat me up for not remembering his name.
I don't know his name.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, the thing is, anime in Japan is actually sometimes very different for how they treat it for kids and for adults anyway.
Yeah, I mean...
Because, like, things like, for example, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, people in the West would consider that a fairly adult series because it deals with some really heavy topics and genocide several times. But in Japan, that's more of a kid show, surprisingly.
Well, I guess I suppose it's just like the cultural differences as well, because Sonic in Japan is more of like a teenage kind of thing, while in America he's very much a mascot character.
Yeah, I have no idea how Sonic could be a teenage thing, but sure.
It's his attitude.
Yeah.
God.
I suppose that's an example of it right there. We just scoff at the idea, but for them it's different because they were raised that way, I guess. Or maybe it's just marketed differently, or... I don't know.
Just for an example of how marketing differences between us, just look up the trope American Kirby is hardcore.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that, actually. They change his face and a bunch of American stuff for him to be...
His eyes have a little bit of a slant to them, so it's like a badass face.
They always make him really angry for some reason.
That's always awesome to see.
Whenever I see that, I always think of that line from Toy Story 2, where, Mr. Angry Eyes.
Yeah.
God.
I have no idea why they do that. I mean, my brother plays those games too, and he's not angry. Kirby's not an angry type character.
He's actually a xenophobe.
He is?
Yeah.
Huh.
How do you figure that? So. I have to follow up on this. How do you figure that?
His creator said it. Word of God.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Like Wonder Woman is really into bondage? That sort of thing? Nobody else has heard of this?
I guess.
No.
I guess.
All right, yeah, it's...
I haven't heard of this, but I'd like you to follow up on it, please.
Yeah, it's just...
that doesn't
Wonder
sound
Woman
creepy, Casey, thank you.
She was just really into that rope when she was first created by whoever created her character. They kind of toned it down after a while, but she was in a lot of situations that involved rope and being tied up.
Yeah.
More power to her. Yeah.
Well, I mean, she was kind of raised by Amazon after she crash-landed onto their island.
She did? Wait, I thought she was created. Like, from play.
She was like...
No, in the original stuff, she was a pilot that crash-landed.
Oh.
Huh.
I had no idea.
I hope I'm getting that right, because I'm going to get a lot of angry people if I'm wrong.
Yeah, the comic community are going to rip you a new one for that if you're wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they get pretty serious.
It's all the reboots.
Yeah. In fairness, there are a lot of those, so it gets easy to lose track.
Yeah.
I mean...
The most memorable one for me would probably be just Justice League. That's where I'm getting it from.
I feel like the most memorable one for me is when everyone tried to make is for what I like to call the edgy 90s.
Ah, yeah.
That's when the comic industry tanked.
I'm pretty sure that's actually a full-on trope. The 90s sucked.
Yeah. Well, do you watch Movie Bob?
Yes, actually, that's where I got that from.
Yeah, that's more just him. It's I mean, there's like an entire like story for how the comic industry kind of flatlined around that.
He makes several episodes out of it, actually. They're really interesting.
Yeah. Movie Bob, I kind of like him, but he tends to get on his soapbox pretty often.
Here we go. Dark Age of comic books is what you're talking about.
Yep.
The 90s, when everything went edgy and gritty.
Yeah, you beat me to it.
They got Spawn.
Yeah. Quote from Marvel in 1993. 1993 was the year Superman died and Venom got his own series. Just keep that in mind.
Yep.
From the trope page.
I still think the lowest point in media would probably be the video game crash of '83.
I wasn't alive for that, so yeah, what happened?
I don't think any of us were alive for that.
Basically, oversaturation and terrible games kind of made no one interested in them until Nintendo pulled it out.
Oh yeah, that guy. That's the guy who died recently, isn't it?
Yeah.
I cannot remember his name, but he was like 85. He was retired CEO.
Yep. But I mean,
a lot of respect for that guy.
So this is the guy that gave Miyamoto a shot.
Yep.
I have a little bit more respect for that guy now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know next to nothing about him, so I can't have a lot of respect for him by default. So no one get mad at me. Yeah, what are you doing?
That came out of nowhere.
What?
So.
Oh, if you heard that, that was my brother answering, or just kind of screaming at me.
Yeah.
I should have probably shut my door, but whatever.
I want to be in the podcast.
If everyone just shuts up for a second, I'll know how to cut this out.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. We're back in.
That
was a thing.
God, what were we talking about?
That dude who died recently.
Oh yeah, video game crash. Well,
yeah,
it was just kind of that. It was so bad that for the longest time, Nintendo dominated the video game industry. Like there was no one who could compete because by then they had been so concrete.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, are we ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
What was the last one? I don't even know what the topic was. But that's what we were talking about?
Yeah, I don't know how we got to this. I still kind of have some stuff to talk about, though.
Yeah, we should probably keep talking about this one.
Yeah.
All right.
Got off topic really quickly.
I've kind of noticed that when it comes to the animation styles, Western animation tends to go for a bit more, like, fluidity. Like, better distributed fluidity as opposed to...
Yeah, anime tends to, like, skimp on, like, people talking. They make it very simple. No one moves. Not much change in facial expression. If it does, then it's just one frame change of them having, like, big smiley eyes or whatever.
And then when you get to the action scenes, they're just, like, art.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, all the budget goes into the big scenes, and then everything else just gets shafted.
For some series. Have you seen some of the crap Naruto was pushing in, like, the pain fight?
No, but I assume that had something to do with, like, you know, time constraints or budget or something.
Studio Gainax is kind of a
terrible.
big offender when it comes to, like, budget distribution, because there's, like, a specific scene in Panty and Stocking that I can't remember, but it's terrible. Like, just, it looks really bad.
If you mean the sort of transformation sequence where their arms are just kind of flying all over the place, that was intentional.
Oh, no. I'm talking about, like, a scene that it's obvious they were running low. Like, it's like South Park, their heads just kind of bob, and their arm kind of, like, rotates as opposed to moves.
Yeah, we're thinking of the same one. That was intentional.
I don't think we are.
All right, whatever. But I know the worst, obviously, would be Evangelion, where it's just they use so many still frames, they just covered up the characters' mouths when they were talking. So there was no animation taking place. It was just a picture with sound over it.
That explains so much about Gendo.
Yeah.
Gendo.
Yeah, it's Gendo.
That explains so... Yeah, but anime tends to focus a bit more on story. Like, no matter whether it's good or bad, it's still going to have a very wordy approach. Like, a good example would be in Soul Eater, when Medusa is like, she's been stabbed. Like, she's been drilled through by Stein. She's still talking.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that's a good thing. They tend to have people be able to talk when they really shouldn't be able to talk.
Yeah. They just have to have that exposition.
Yeah, that's not really a good thing.
You actually need that extra exposition sometimes. I mean, shit gets
sometimes, but
yeah, but in that one, it's kind of them just repeating what's obvious.
I suppose, yeah.
Or just like egging each other on.
Or expositing how their techniques work to each other.
Yeah.
Or to the audience technically, but just
that's
to each
more
other.
for the reader or watcher's benefit, really.
Yeah.
So they know what's happening. Some people don't understand things that they see, so you need to really explain it for the slow people.
Then have them think it.
But then you get the big internal monologues, and that's just as boring. At least you have some character interaction otherwise.
Yeah, well, that's true. But I suppose one of the good things about one of the biggest parts of animation is the term show, don't tell.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I've noticed a lot of, like, little independent shorts that I like looking up on YouTube. They tend to be a lot of silent shorts, save for the music and the sound effects. And they're very good most of the time.
Yeah. You guys seen the Paperman one from Disney? I forget which movie it was part of, but it was like
it was from
Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, that was really good.
I haven't seen that one. I only watched the film.
But what I'm trying to say is there's scenes where the silence can weigh more than anything that they can say.
Yeah, and sometimes you get anime that goes for that. I mean, you've got like the 2-minute still shot from Evangelion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
End of Evangelion kind of tries to do that.
It does? They try to do it again?
Well, I mean, just like the silence kind of thing. Like, there's a lot of dead space.
Oh.
There's a lot of dead space in it.
Yeah,
I never watched that one, so I wouldn't know. I was big a fan.
That was actually the first thing I saw about Evangelion, so it's kind of skewed my opinion.
You poor guy.
Yeah.
That all we
but
got
yeah,
for that one,
I have a problem with just expositing everything about everything when there's really no point to it.
It kind of reminds me of in Sonic 06, how whenever they needed to do tutorials, it was just them talking to themselves.
It was?
Yeah, they'd say, I can do this to do this.
Yeah.
All the time.
Or like,
it was,
oh no, Elise is there, I better go catch her. And just like have this entire paragraph.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird. Yeah. But you don't get that as much in like Western stuff, where it's just like something happens and they make it pretty clear what's happening without having to say anything.
I will give anime credit. When they try to do really artsy and experimental stuff, it's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. Not always.
You get more experimentation in Eastern stuff.
Yeah,
granted.
Like, I wouldn't really call this experimental, but Akira is a good example of just like the artsy kind of like symbolic and religious subtext and all that stuff.
I haven't actually watched that one, so I'll just take your
word
word for
it. It's very good. Like,
it was on somebody's. I think I mentioned this before actually, but it was on somebody's required watching. For classic anime.
Yeah, along with pretty much any Studio Ghibli stuff.
I thought it was Ghibli.
No, it's Ghibli.
All right.
Yeah. Well, actually, funny story.
Are you sure you call Gendo Gendo?
Whatever. Funny story about that, actually. It was meant to be like Ghibli, I believe, because he had Hayao Miyazaki had based it off a famous like Italian plane fighter's last name. But when he translated it to kanji, he got some of the syllables wrong, so it sounded like Ghibli. So they just rolled with it, and he actually prefers it now.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Did you guys hear that he retired?
No.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, that's a shame. I guess. I haven't actually seen any of his work, so...
You need to do that. Like, I don't even care if you stop right now and pick one up. You need to do that.
I'm not that big an anime guy. I just like some things. If something grabs me, then it grabs me. I don't really watch anime films.
It's not just a good anime film, it's a good movie, period. You need to watch these. They're fantastic.
Maybe.
I'm going to give you a recommendation right now. Spirited Away. Start there. Just do it.
Okay, shall we move on?
Yeah.
Sure.
I think we've delved into the topic enough that we'll have a flame war on our hands.
Yay, those are fun, I assume. We haven't actually had them yet.
No.
Or any response at all. If someone could, comment or something, that would be nice.
Wait,
I know
I'm
people are
desperate.
listening.
Yeah, I know.
I know people are listening to this. You're listening to this. You're out there. I know you are, because I've seen the download numbers.
God,
Someone
creepy.
comment.
God, that's freaking creepy. I know you're out there. I know you're listening.
Don't address the audience like that. It's creepy.
Yeah.
And desperate,
Yeah.
but whatever.
Well, I did see the download numbers. That was when we were using RapidShare before they decided to start being hip and happening, and then completely ruin the functionality of their website to the point where I pulled our files down and used someone else instead. Nice work, RapidShare.
I haven't seen
Anyway.
their new layout, actually. Is it really that
It's
bad?
terrible. It's
Alright.
terrible.
Just letting everyone know, we're going to update on Mondays, starting from now.
Will we?
Mondays if we can, Wednesdays if something comes up, and since we're recording this on Sunday, you can assume something's come up and this is going to be up on Wednesday.
Yeah, I
Fair
think
warning.
Wednesday would be a better, solid schedule.
Well, with Casey,
Wednesday
the problem
will-
is he procrastinates in between.
Yeah, Wednesday will be better if we're recording on Saturday. If we're recording on Sunday. If it's Saturday, then it's going to be Monday.
Yeah.
So usually it's going to be Monday, unless we have to change days.
Just keep
or something.
those time
This-
frames in mind.
Let's just keep talking about this over and over and over again, all this behind-the-scenes stuff. This is...
Well, how about you edit it so that way this comes first?
Good stuff.
Or just, cut it out and have you stating that we'll be updating on a more rigorous schedule.
Or I could just put it in the episode notes.
Yeah.
All right.
Moving on.
Gameplay and story segregation.
That's the one.
Yep.
Yes.
Heavy Rain. There we go.
Ish.
Well,
I only saw a Let's Play for that one, so I wouldn't really know.
that one's more...
The gameplay was the story, in fairness.
Yeah, I mean, that one was one that was trying to blend it. But I feel David Cage kind of missed the point in the fact that there's only one true ending. You can't change anything.
Ish.
That game really deserved a bunch of different endings.
Yeah. There was this one critic who brought up the point that would be kind of interesting if the killer was different every time you played.
That would definitely liven up the experience, I'd say. I would actually pick up the game if that was the case.
Yeah.
I just realized we're talking about Heavy Rain and not Fahrenheit. Though, in fairness, it doesn't change the conversation any.
Fahrenheit was just really silly. I could not take that game seriously.
I don't
It
even know
was,
what
but
that
it was
is.
basically the same game.
Yeah. Think
So-
magical superpowered people that love Shakespeare for some reason.
Oh,
Heavy
yeah.
Rain with a little bit more superpowers.
Yeah.
That's about it.
All right.
As soon as we got to the blind wheelchaired lady who could read into his past, I was just like, yeah, willing suspension of disbelief is gone. I'm sorry.
Really? I lost that when he was, fighting helicopters barefoot, barehanded.
Oh, that happened earlier. Earlier, I was watching a live stream of it.
No, actually, I think you're right. That happens pretty late. But that was where I lost it. I deal with a lot of randomly psychic people. Just in my day-to-day life, they're everywhere.
I can see the future.
I think the most recent worst offender I've come across would be the Saints Row series, actually.
What's that?
Well, in the cutscenes, okay, in gameplay, you can pretty much take on anything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you put enough time and
within
effort into
reason.
upgrading your weapons, you can take on anything. And yet,
No,
in the
no.
cutscenes, you
Powerhouse.
just seem like a normal... You seem like a tough but normal person.
Yeah.
Ish. I mean, when you take the Ronin story into account, you're fighting, samurai-trained swordsmen, martial artists, and you're fighting them equally, even though you're just a street brawler. But
God, I hated that part of that game.
Well,
I like that part of that
you kind
game.
of have to take into consideration the fact that you can run faster than any car, leap over most of the regular buildings, and just punch people.
That's Saints Row 4,
Yeah, that's
I'm the only one to play that one.
I haven't actually played that one yet.
We're talking about 2 and 3.
Oh, for some reason I heard 4.
Nah.
No. The second one is the Ronin, which is like a gang of Japanese... It's pseudo-Yakuza.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
So they all have swords and, there's this one dude that breaks into one of your guys' houses and you have a big fight with him. Yeah. And you pretty much win, kind of.
That's actually exactly what I was talking about. In that fight, you're kind of dodging around, hiding behind walls and stuff, and nobody fights like that in Saints Row in the game. Yeah. It's just...
You can,
but there's no real cover system. And if you can hide behind stuff, and it's a third-person shooter, so you can shoot around it, and then you're untouchable. So,
wasn't there that one gang in Saints Row 2 whose leader was a luchador?
That was 3.
Oh.
That's Kilbane, Eddie Kilbane.
Yeah.
Wow, I am really out of touch with Saints Row.
I actually mix up those 2 games a lot, so don't worry about it.
All right. I guess gameplay and story segregation is really just the problem is people tend to think of gameplay experiences before they think of the story.
I suppose.
Yeah, well, for games you kind of have to. That's how it has to work.
Yeah, but I mean...
Otherwise, you may as well be making a film.
But the problem is they don't put as much effort into the story.
Arguable. I think they put a lot of effort in... Well, it depends on, case by case. But
yeah, BioWare.
Gameplay, they put a lot of effort into the gameplay. They can put a lot of effort into the story. Yeah. But generally speaking, the people that put a lot of effort into the story try and make it a film story.
Yeah. There's not a lot of like consulting within each other.
Yeah. This is pretty much what we're talking about. They're very separated in how one's done on one side, one's done on the other side, and never the twain shall meet.
Yeah. I like to imagine that they're like that it's like that stupid sitcom plot where they've duct taped 2 halves of the room. This is your side of the house, and this is my side of the house.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the issue with abilities, too. I mean, in the cutscenes, your character is kind of pretty baseline, so that you can't... like in Mass Effect, you can choose different setups and stuff, and the cutscenes have to fit every setup, so you can't...
Yeah. Actually, they kind of don't sometimes. I mean, if you look at 3, and I love ragging on Mass Effect 3...
Yeah.
That stupid scene with fucking Kai Lang, and you're, like, chasing him in a sky car. If you're a biotic... pull. He comes off.
That would be it.
Yeah. There's another thing. People video game characters tend to forget stuff in cutscenes.
I can see that.
It's like in every cutscene, the characters grab hold of their idiot balls or something.
Clutch them possessively.
Yeah.
Mine. It's precious.
Well, that's all I got for this one, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's people who could go into it more philosophically than we could.
Yeah, and that's why we need more people to talk about this.
Yeah.
Because 3 people isn't enough, folks.
No.
So, volunteers, line up. 5 isn't too many. I think we can manage 5.
5 is right out.
Was that reference
Oh. Anyway.
I'm lost, but
next topic.
I would really like to see that, but I haven't had a chance to yet.
You need to.
Yeah.
You're off the podcast until you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Watch Monty Python in the Holy Grail. You need to.
Also, it's kind of optional, but Life of Brian as well.
Yeah, Life of Brian's pretty good.
Yeah.
What's he saying?
All right.
Well, blessed are the cheese makers.
Yeah. Anyway, before we just delve into quotes.
Yeah. The next topic, then. Misunderstood loner with a heart of gold.
That's something we should be kind of familiar with, considering the fact that it's kind of what we're writing.
It's also me.
Right.
I was waiting for a chorus of and me, but okay. I'll just be the only one that confesses.
Eh. I don't really know what I am right now.
I guess here, but I've actually been reading a lot of Mass Effect stories lately because I don't know actually, but that seems like the go-to character a lot of people go to for Shepard.
I just tend to be really abrasive.
Misunderstood loner. I don't... How could they... How does that make sense for, like, you know, a military officer being a loner? I don't get... strange.
If you're famous enough, people make assumptions about your personality, so... Yeah, I guess just meeting him in person is different. And get off on the wrong foot, basically.
I suppose.
Well, I mean, considering how many newscasters he's probably punched.
Yeah.
Holy shit. People have decided to XP Harry Potter as Shepard.
What?
I would actually read that, honestly.
Repeating, por favor?
Well, Harry Potter is like a famous dude in the wizarding world, but he's like, people make assumptions about him, and that makes him a loner, and this is apparently the character that people are giving Shepard.
Okay.
Oh.
People have XP'd Harry Potter as Shepard.
Okay.
I don't know, that's too specific, I guess. There's a lot of different characters that could be seen in that light.
Yeah.
I suppose, but still, it's the first one that comes to mind.
Alright. Either you guys got any examples?
I'm trying to think besides Seta.
Loud Ethan is scary.
What?
Said Loud Ethan is scary. You were loud for a second there, I don't know why.
Oh.
So, this topic bomb.
A little bit. I don't know why you selected it. It's so vague.
We've got an hour on us. You want to go ahead and just cut it here?
We've actually got the Darker Me one. I was kind of interested in what you guys had for that one.
Hang on. Let me just check how long the recording's gone on. I can cut all this stuff out because, fuck it, we don't want to hear this. We have gone on for a while, I'll give you that. Have we?
Yeah, hour.
Yeah. Hour and 8 minutes, yeah.
Well, considering all the stuff we've cut, I suppose this could count for an hour. Alright, we'll do A Darker Me and then we'll see if we can get anything from it.
Okay.
Alright, so A Darker Me. This is when you take your own personality and decide to take some of the restraints of actual real life from it. So you're more willing to do stupid shit, more willing to do risky stuff, more willing to talk to people like they're dirt on your shoe because, you know, whatever. It kind of works for either self-insert characters or for internet personas.
Yeah.
Because I don't really give a shit about Ethan because I don't know him in person.
Hey.
Right.
Well, I mean,
I probably wouldn't be willing to say that to his face.
Well, I mean, I am the only reason your story is still getting updates.
Also true. Still, fuck you, Ethan.
So, yeah, pretty much, it also counts for basically any game where the protagonist is kind of an empty slot. You can put yourself in the role of.
Yeah.
That's true, too. Anything where you like character created, you can make decisions that you wouldn't necessarily make, but, you know,
well, I mean,
the character can make because it's not you.
There's a lot of things you tend to do as a video game character that you wouldn't do in normal life. Like, say, for example, looking in the bathrooms for health potions.
Yeah, well, that's a different thing.
Or the trash cans for food, you know.
Yeah, like, it's you, but it's not you, so it doesn't matter as much. So you can make mistakes and do stupid stuff.
There's not some of the same emotions attached, like shame or, well, dignity. Anything, really. Yeah, dignity is also a good one.
Really, it's just, yeah, I mean, I've actually kind of noticed when I'm, like, say I'm playing a game and I'm feeling myself, like, I want to get invested in it, so I start, like, portraying myself as the character, I do kind of notice that I tend to get very abrasive.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, though, because for games, if you're actually invested in the world and in the character, then you won't really want to do all the horrible things that people say they want to be able to do in a game.
Yeah.
Well, no, because you actually care. You have, you can't just become a monster if you don't care about something.
Yeah, I mean, people say, for example, the Fable games, they have terrible immersion, but people always say they want to be able to kill children and stuff like that.
Ugh.
If there was actually investment in the characters in the world, then you wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Because
there's a reason there's a reason there's never been any
somewhat,
kids
but that's
in
a different
Grand Theft Auto.
issue.
There's
That's a different issue. People wanted to do that.
I mean,
because
you guys have played Fallout 3, right?
No. Well, I played New Vegas.
Really? Oh,
I played
okay.
New Vegas.
Well,
I played Fallout 3.
In Fallout 3, there's a little cave run by children called Little Lamplight, and you need to go through this location. It's non-avoidable, and the children are just...
Yeah, the brash little snots.
Anybody who played the game will understand. You want to stab the main child in the face, and that's not something I would normally say. It's just... I forget his name, actually. It's just... He's not very friendly at all, and he does everything in his path or everything he can to bar you.
I wouldn't say I'd want to kill him. I'd want to smack him in the face and say, "Grow up, you little shit."
Yeah.
And then steal all of his baked beans.
That's Stalker, not Fallout, but okay.
But let me give an example that's pretty good. That actually goes back a few decades or so. Have either of you heard of Ultima?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
It's Richard Garriott.
Yep. Well,
Lord British.
Yeah, Lord British. Well, in the 8th one, even though you are, the avatar, the paladin of good and all that is positive of humanity, you kill kids. Yeah.
Is there a reason for this, or just for kicks?
They kick you in the shins.
Ah, okay.
Bit disproportionate.
You're saying you can, rather than you have to.
Yes, but they swarm you. They swarm you. They're like rats. I really wish I'd picked my wording better.
Right.
Considering how I'm trying to argue for them. But still, it's just the fact that you, as the protagonist, and how you are held on such a pedestal as the protagonist, and what you represent as the protagonist in this setting and this world is doing such like a lowly, terrible thing.
It's the same thing we mentioned before. That's just a button press
gameplay,
for us.
Story, segregation, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If you're
and
actually
then you loot
in the
their corpses,
position,
so...
Well, yeah. Looting the corpses is kind of also that, though. I mean, I don't think I'd loot a corpse unless I actually needed to.
It's just standard procedure. Kill enemies.
Yeah, in a game,
corpse,
it's just...
either rinse, repeat.
I can't go through a room without looting corpses in games. I can't do it.
Yeah, you don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah.
Not really. They're just another chest item, I guess.
Basically. That's a depressing thought. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
A little bit.
How carefully do you think you'll drive on the roads in Grand Theft Auto 5 now?
Not even a little.
That's what I thought.
Actually, it doesn't really matter. I don't think you can actually kill pedestrians anymore just by running them over.
Really?
I don't think
that's
so.
why you got to go back and forth a couple of times.
Yeah. That works, apparently.
Wait, no, actually you can. I've seen the two best friends play. They ran over a guy with a motorcycle and he died.
Yeah. There was also the Achievement Hunter thing where Michael got a bit aggressive.
Right.
Oh, yeah, and he's doing this meatwad impression, and then he, just runs over someone. He's like, "Hey, what you looking at, Buster?" And he just runs over them and then just spins and does a donut over their corpses.
I never thought
that was a pretty good impression. I gotta say, that was pretty good.
I mean, meatwad's kind of easy to do.
Yeah, we'll just kind of talk in the back of the throat like this.
That's quite funny.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Yeah, I can't believe... I was impressed. I can't believe you did that. I can't believe you did that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's an ending. I think we're going to wrap it up now.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, that was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it. I need to stop saying that phrase. Damn you, Ray Novice. Anyway.
Bye.
Yeah. So this was the third was it the third one?
Yeah, third real one.
I lost count already. This was the third episode of the Fandom Flux podcast. Thank you for listening. We're going to be back next week, possibly with a Harry Potter-centric episode. If not, then I don't know who the fuck's going to be on next week.
I'm not.
So, yeah, he's not. Slicer might be. I don't know. So, okay, yeah. See ya.
See ya.